So I have an XPS 15 right here. I don't recall which, I think this is like the 9570 or 9750 or 7590, I don't know, one of those. XPS 15, so it's a 15-inch model. It comes with the latest Intel 9th Gen i7, as well as a GTX 1650, and I believe 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, 8 gigs in this one. Obviously, the 8 gigs is kind of lackluster, especially if I plan to use this for content creation, Adobe Premiere Pro. More specifically, I will be using this laptop for on-the-go video editing, and 8 gigs is just it's just not going to cut it. So we're going to turn this laptop off. We're going to take it apart. We're really not going to do much with respect to taking it apart. We're just going to remove the back aluminum cover, and we're going to upgrade the RAM from 8 gigs, which I believe is on just a single stick, so it'd be easy to upgrade to 16. But we're going to move from 8 all the way up to 32 thanks to this kit, T-Force Vulkan DDR4, sent by Team Group. Let's get started. The PowerColor RX 5700 XT Red Devil brings both class and function to the forefront. It's the quietest 5700 XT variant we've tested, maintains a sleek and monochromatic footprint, and comes highly recommended for its bump in performance over stock. The Red Devil's custom PCB utilizes a 10-phase array for buttery smooth power delivery and stays quiet thanks to a beefy heatsink and triple fan design. Check out the video description for more details. I've powered down the PC. You can disconnect the battery if you want. That's something a few of you always tend to bring up in the comments, but I've never had a problem, especially when it comes to just swapping RAM or a drive, just powering off the PC and then dealing with the basic hardware swaps, which is essentially what this is. So it's powered off. We're gonna flip it over, and you can see we've got a bunch of Torx screws surrounding the laptop frame. So all of these here, as well as I believe there are, 2 Phillips screws hiding under this little flap here, which I'm pretty sure lists the hardware specifications. So yeah, let's get these off first. You know, while we're doing this, for those of you who are wondering why I chose this particular version of the XPS 15, first off, I got it for about, I want to say $1,500 off of eBay. And the main reason why I got this was because I wanted something a bit more powerful for Premiere Pro editing and rendering on the go. We've gotten all the Torx screws removed. But the one downside with this laptop, I guess the one negative you could say, is that the speakers are pretty trash. I actually used, with my MacBook X Pro, the built-in speakers when I was editing. I'd even edit audio on those speakers. It was that crisp. But I should probably go with a slightly bigger Phillips head here, just in case. Don't want to strip that. Let's go with this one. I'll link this toolkit down below. I use it in pretty much every deconstruction video if you're interested. Now, this should come off fairly easy. Let's see if that is the case. You could probably use a credit card or something like that to get under here, but yeah, this one comes up nice and easy. So we've got a thermal pad here, and this is for the NVMe drive. It's that there. I'm not going to bother upgrading that. I certainly could, but the storage in this one, I think this is a 512 gig drive. The speeds are fast enough. I'm not going to complain. These 2 DIMMs right here, these are the modules, DDR4 modules, and we're going to swap these out. It's very simple. At this point, by the way, if you want to disconnect the battery, if that makes you feel better, you certainly could. It's right here. It takes 2 seconds. I don't care to do that. It's not a big deal. To disengage or unlock these DIMMs, all you have to do, this is a low profile, this is like a low profile setup here, so it's not a traditional DDR4 slot. You're going to see these 2 levers here. You're going to grab both of these and you're going to pull out. You pull out and then these modules should pop up at about a 30-degree angle. I'm going to do that for both. Very straightforward. You can see they slide out. Actually, kind of sucks here. So the XPS 15 this time around went with 2 4-gig modules, which means if you bought an 8-gig laptop, an 8-gig version of this like I did, you can't just throw an extra 8 gigs in there. You're going to buy 2 8-gig DIMMs. To get the full 16. So you can't technically reuse these, so that kind of sucks. Good thing is, don't have to worry about that now. We're going to go for a full-on 32 gig kit here. You can see you're just going to insert them like so. You want to mind the notch just like you would in traditional DDR4, and you're going to insert it at roughly a 30-degree angle, just like that. We'll do this one as well. There we go. And then you're going to push down, and the retention arms are going to bend back a bit, and then they're going to snap in place. Just like that. There you go. You installed laptop RAM. Boom. Again, that's it. That's the upgrade. That's all it takes, folks. It's very simple to do, and your laptop from here on out is going to take care of the rest. All right, so we're gonna put this back on, flip it over, make sure that thermal pad is staying where it should. Drops right back into place like so. You could also take the time while you have this back cover off to repaste your laptop if you feel like that is necessary. I would encourage you to do that, actually. I will probably save that for a separate video, but it's good practice. It's a little risky, sure, but if you know what you're doing and you're confident, it shouldn't be an issue.
12 o'clock midnight.
All right, so this is a bit awkward. Meant for this to go very smoothly, should have been a short video. You're wondering why I have two different sticks of RAM in there. This stick is the OEM, or the original Dell stick. The stick on the left is a Team Group module, and you can see the PC is booted up. Now that's the BIOS, and I'm in there for a reason. I'll explain that in a second. But the problem I'm having is that the PC will not boot up with both new modules in the system. I Googled this extensively, a lot of Reddit threads on this. Apparently, the XPS 15s are super stubborn with regards to the type of RAM that you can use to upgrade, essentially, your system. There are like 10 or so as of early 2019, it looks like, that support it out of the box without any weird configurations. As is, the PC boots, but when I put both of the Team Group modules in there, 32 gigs in total, nothing. I get two amber lights and then three white lights. So 2 amber flashes, 3 white flashes, and that means that it doesn't detect any RAM. Funny thing, if you swap these two around, so if you put the Team Group module in slot 2, I believe this is slot, yeah, DIMM slot 2, then it won't boot, even if you have the original OEM module in slot 1. So it's kind of weird. This is the only way it works, if slot 2 has the original module in it. I don't know, this is super finicky and it didn't, yeah, this isn't going as I had hoped. But hey, maybe you learned something. Troubleshooting videos are always interesting because you really never know how they're going to end up. So I'm going to tinker in the BIOS just a little bit and see if we can't figure out what the heck is wrong with our I mean, I know the Team Group modules work. My brother has a laptop. I swapped those into that. They both work fine. So it's not the module's fault. These are Team Group modules. I would have no reason to expect otherwise anyway. But I think this is just going to come down to Dell's BIOS being super stubborn. Let's see if we can fix it. I'll keep you updated.
Well, I'm not going to waste your time in this video. I'm going to cut right to it. There's nothing that I think I can do to get this to work. And that seems to be the case as well on forums. Other people have experienced this as well. I am disappointed with Dell because I think this is these modules work. I tested these in a different laptop. They work. I know they do. So I think it's a BIOS incompatibility. I think the fact that the BIOS is reading the default memory profiles built into these and just blindly trying to apply those profiles is what's causing the PC to boot loop. Actually, it won't even boot at all. It just gives you those 2 amber lights and 3 white lights, which means, I looked up the codes, that the XPS 15 can't detect memory. It can't detect memory if it can't properly apply the memory profile. And because we have no way of editing memory profiles, at least with the BIOS that's on this system, I even checked the newest BIOS. I think it's 1.2.3 for the 7590 as of mid to late 2019. Even that BIOS, as far as I'm aware, does not include any of that customizability. I mean, it sucks because it should have been super straightforward. I don't want to scare you guys into not wanting to upgrade your laptop memory. Most laptops are just plug and play, very straightforward. It just so happens that Dell has decided for whatever reason to keep their BIOSes in the dark. And because they're blindly trying to apply these profiles, a lot of them aren't working. So what I have done, if you have this particular model, heck, any XPS 15, just to be on the safe side, I've linked what appear to be compatible SODIMM memory kits in the description. So there are a few Corsair kits, a few Crucial kits. Now you're probably wondering, Greg, didn't you do the research beforehand? So I did a little research beforehand. The research that I did was linked to cache latencies and frequency. So it looked as though a lot of the kits that weren't working were cache latency 16. And these modules are CL18, pretty sure. Yeah, CL18 1838 and 2666. There's nothing about this module that is any different, at least on paper, than some of the Crucial kits that actually do work. So I figured this would work, which is why I reached out to Team Group. I like Team Group products. They work really well, and I'm, again, really close with their marketing team, so it was easy to get that sent over here. I'm pissed at Dell. That's really what I'm pissed at, because this is a $1,500 laptop, actually a little more than that, and the fact that you can't just freely swap modules without the BIOS giving you crap is a real pain. So this video was kind of a fail, but kind of not. The funny thing is, this configuration works, and that means I'm stuck with 20 gigs in total. I'm not even sure what speed the modules are running at. I'm assuming it's like the base 2133. I'd be surprised if it was 2400. These modules here, this is Micron memory, the default modules, and let's see, 2666, so same speed. I don't know what, I mean, this is probably not that high quality memory, but yeah, so I'm stuck with 20 gigs at whatever, 2133, let's assume that. 20 gigs is still a big improvement from 8, so that's great. Also, if you're wondering, in the back of your head, whether or not you could run 2 different modules at 2 different speeds and whatever, yeah, you can. You just have to generally use the lowest common denominator and set your configuration based on that profile. Because trying to run a higher speed or a lower cache latency, according to the faster one, or quote unquote the faster drive, would result in this one not functioning properly, and then you probably wouldn't get a post. Or you might, but you might get several blue screens after the fact. So you got to kind of take all of this with a huge grain of salt when you're talking about XPS 15s. And again, I have linked kits that appear to be compatible with this laptop. I'm sure there will be people saying, "Oh, you should have done your research," but I will one-up you, sir, and I will say that this shouldn't be a problem to begin with. It really shouldn't. So shame on Dell for this. It kind of makes me regret buying an XPS 15. I would have bought a Razer Blade Stealth or something else in place of this. But good thing is we've got the BIOS update that eliminates the heavy thermal throttling issues with the GPU. So that's great. And I can edit faster. Having 20 gigs, like I was going to run the tests from 8 to 32 to show you the big change in performance, at least in some instances, but I'm not going to bother. I'm really disappointed that the second module doesn't work. And it's not Team Group's fault. Again, it's not their fault. It's Dell's fault. So you could run this second module. You could run both these modules in something like a Razer Blade or whatever, and you'd be just fine. So shame on you, Dell. Shame on you. I feel weird asking for likes in this video, but if you learned something, that'd be cool. Give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Click that red subscribe button. If you haven't already, consider becoming a member if that's something that fancies your interest, and I will catch you in the next one. This is Science Studio. Thanks for troubleshooting and halfway failing with us. Yeah, I think that works.